Welcome today to Storyvan TV. I'm Bonnie McDonald Dixon, and I want to just say to you, if you want to take control of your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual states to live your best life, you're going to want to stay for this interview to meet Irina Shehovsov. She's a friend of mine, and she is the founder of Reclaim Your Life. So here's just a few of the things that she does in her life. She's a mother. She's a sister. She's a daughter. She's the host of Single Parent Success Stories podcast. She's an author many times over. She is a certified 10X health coach, and she helps people to living long and live well. Her background is a mortgage analyst. Get that? Can you just imagine that background? But there's more. And she caught me off guard when she shared this. She loves to sing. And isn't that a wonderful thing to be able to sing your way to health and happiness? So with that, I'd like to introduce Irina. And Irina, tell us about this journey to your transformation from being an analyst, like we think of numbers, we think of that sort of thing, to all this creativity and helping others. Can you share with us today?
Yes. So thank you, Bunny, for amazing introduction and for having me today. And yeah, it has been a journey. I think creativity is always, we always have that creativity. It's just a matter of whether or not we choose to tap into it. I love painting, singing, as you mentioned, and doing all those creative things. The transformation or the catalyst that happened for me to explore that passion was me becoming a single parent, essentially, and living in the midst of despair, living in the midst of negative events, and figuring out, realizing that I could no longer live like that, living every day, rushing somewhere without feeling like I am alive. And asking this question, where are we rushing to? Are we rushing to a death? What's the point of living? Do we just come here to suffer? Waiting for somebody to come rescue me from my misery.
Oh, you were waiting for the white knight, maybe, as they often say. But instead, you figured it out yourself. Yes. So what came first, chicken and the egg? Were you doing your podcast first? Were you writing books? All of the above? What came first?
So first came a realization or the idea that I wanted to help women reclaim their life, realize that you can find happiness from within. You don't have to go seek it somewhere outside. It's not in your next event, next partner, next home, or a job, but it's right here inside of you. And then a podcast happened. If we talk chronologically, happened next. I didn't know how I was going to help those women, but I just made a decision that that's what I want to do. And how I got inspired, how the podcast came about, is I was watching a series of interviews over on YouTube my friend was doing, and it was people sharing stories of their life experiences. And I said, what a great idea. I would like to do that, like interview single parents and see where they've been, what kind of things they've learned, because I did not consider myself an expert by no means. So I went out and sought help of people who have been there, done that, and I wanted to interview them because we connect through stories, and it has been an incredible journey. The podcast has been live for 3 years, and actually, since March of 2020, and as a result of the podcast, I became a writer because I met a single parent who was a publisher, and she invited me to write the first book. It was a compilation series. It was called Sacred Surrender. It is on Amazon, became a bestseller. International. It was an incredible journey. And then I did a second one, which was called Revolutionary Leaders, another bestseller, and again international. And then a third one came as a result of the podcast specifically. It was called Inspirational Stories Guidance for Single Parents, Volume 1. And I invited my podcast guests to share a story in a book. And then book number 4 was Total Health that we did together with Mind Valley coaches about sharing different tools about total health. And I contributed a story called 10 Minutes of Joy because I believe we are nothing without our emotional health, and we should do something every day to set our soul on fire. 10 minutes or more every day. So that's like, if you're talking chronologically, that's how the podcasting and the book writing happen. And in fact, currently, I'm looking for authors or for single parents who would like to share their story, because we are working on volume 2 of single parent inspirational guidance for single parents. And I'm also working on a solo book this year as well that's going to come out at the end of the year.
Oh my gosh, Irina, you're running circles around us, I tell you. Um, you obviously follow your own advice to stay healthy, to have that energy to be able to do this. Tell me more about the 10-minute thing. That sounds fascinating. Anybody has 10 minutes in one day.
Yeah. So for me, 10 minutes of joy for me is when I practice my singing. I think uh, it's simple, it's something enjoyable, and it has a skill to it, so you can master it. So whether it is I don't know, jumping hoops, like what do you can pick an activity that you love doing, or an activity you have been trying wanting to try for the longest time, but you were waiting, like it wasn't the right time. Why don't you do that? It's not a lot, and it's for something for you to look forward to. The idea is that you start practicing that activity, and in the process of uh, being involved in that activity, you become happy as a result of that, and you enter in that flow state. So doing that every day to keep your kind of, like you brush your teeth to have a good oral hygiene. This is so that you have a good, emotional hygiene, emotional wellness. Practicing flexing your happiness muscle every single day.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Earlier in my life, my midlife, I danced, and that was just to think about dancing gave me joy. Now my passion is to walk with my walking sticks. And I might be walking through the park or along a lake or a river or even in the city, because I was just down in Los Angeles, and I would try to do 20 to 30 minutes. And the flowers, that gave me the joy just to be walking and see the flowers. So I couldn't agree with you more. Whatever it is, you can find joy within that activity. And what I really appreciate is sometimes we start with 10 minutes, we might end up doing it longer, right? And then even get more joy. And sometimes, would you say this is true, Irina? People don't give themselves that 10 minutes even. They keep thinking they have to work, 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 and they don't realize you will be more productive if you have some joy every day than if you are clenching your life away. And sometimes I have to say, oh, go for the walk, go for the walk. And for yourself, what is your favorite time to sing? Is it in the morning, afternoon, or just whenever it erupts out? Erupts out of you. Do you schedule it in? I guess.
Whenever it happens, but in the morning is always best. I like to go. Yeah, I like to go watch a sunrise in the morning, and then on my coming back or sitting in the car and just singing. Then, yeah.
Oh,
But I think it's another thing can be said. It also is important, especially if you're involved in a sedentary activity or any kind of one type of activity like mono working. It is important to switch, to give your brain a little bit of dopamine hit and do something different for a little bit. And then you come back so much refreshed and ready to take on the next task that's on your plate.
Mm-hmm. That makes so much sense. Like, just as you said, reclaim your life, it's like a reset button that we can push every day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one interesting thing about yourself, I've written a book as well, but when we're writing, that's another way to create and putting our words down and expressing ourselves. But you're smart because you're gathering other people's stories as well. And one of the things I'm curious about, you've heard many, many stories of single parents. Is there a theme for single parents that comes up most of the time?
Well, the theme is, practicing self-care, it comes up again and again. If I had to summarize and give like 3 tips that are very common, is practicing self-care, making sure that you're taking care of yourself first. It's not selfish, it's actually selfless, because you show up better for others when you took care of your own batteries, you charge them. Second advice is asking for help, because oftentimes we think we can do everything on our own, and we don't ask for help often enough or soon enough. So asking for help is also key. And the third one is creating a community, I guess, of people who come together, who can share the troubles and things, that are not working, and maybe help each other out, so you're not alone. In my case, when I was recovering, I created different communities based on my interests. So I had a singing community. I used to do dance, Argentine tango dance community. I had painting. So you always, and you connect with those people who share the same interest. And life becomes more interesting that way when you discover more about yourself, when you pursue your hobbies. Oftentimes we think hobbies are for kids, but I believe hobbies are for adults as well, because we all have that little 5-year-old still inside of us, and that child needs to come out and play. We shouldn't really push him, because then you have temper tantrums when an adult person does crazy things, because they've been suppressing all of their emotions for so long that sometimes, when some button is pushed, you explode, because you haven't been feeding your child for the longest time.
Oh, that is so wise. You're a very wise woman to recognize that. And I love that you're able to help others share their stories, because when we can express ourselves, that's another outlet to just be able to share our story. And not often do people ask us our story. And with single parents, I know it's hard enough for 2 parents to raise a child or children, much less being one person trying to do everything. What can you say? There's self-care for sure. Are there any other things that you could share for the your audience, as far as maybe listening to some of the other podcasts, because they'll learn from those other, and you have over 100 podcasts that you've recorded already. And would you say if they were to listen in to a few of them, they'll learn a little bit about
Yes.
parenting styles, challenges, and how to overcome them? Would you say that would be a good idea for them to check that out?
Definitely. And it's not specific to single parents, because on a podcast I actually interview 3 types of guests. First is a past and present single parents. Second type is a child who grew up in a single parent household. And the third one is an expert to help single parents thrive, or people who are coming out after divorce. And in that spectrum, I've been speaking with so many different individuals, professionals, how to take care of your mental health, how to take care of your health, your wellness, your financial things. I had a guy, I spoke with him 3 times. He wrote a book, Taking the High Road, Divorce, with Compassion for Yourself and Family. And he had a wealth of information and knowledge as he interviewed different divorce professionals and people who went through the process. What are some of the pitfalls people are experiencing, and how to deal with co-parenting situations? So there is a slew of things depending on what is the issue, what is the problem, that is available for people to explore. There was another one, great one, Emotional Resilience for Dads. There was a guy from Australia, and why he's in my mind, because oftentimes men have difficulty articulating their emotions and how they're feeling. Well, that guy went through his own story, his own life story, that kind of he came out and evolved and created his own framework, and we kind of match me with my Reclaim Your Life, and having those components like physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. He kind of has that for men. So there have been a lot of different perspectives on the podcast. People coming, sharing their stories from different walks of life, from different countries, men and women. So it's very well represented, the kind of, and also I had a parent who decided to become a single parent. It was a personal decision. So there are a lot of different type of guests that are coming, and I also personally learned a lot from speaking to so many, uh, as they share their tools, how to they manage their life, how they're raising the kids, what kind of practices that they created, and it's been incredible.
Wow, what a learning journey. It goes right along with reclaiming your life, living and dreaming and growing through life. There's no bed of roses, that's for sure, in life. But what really comes together is when people are willing to share their experience, not be afraid or embarrassed, just open up so others can learn from that experience. And I'm so happy that we got to touch base. Now, there's, let's see, we have a website, or how can we get a hold of you? Although I did want to touch on one other thing before we go there. You also, being a 10X health coach, have tools in your hip belt to help people without the pills, without the having to do certain things. And I know, I happen to know about them myself, and I know that you have incredible energy and less stress just from some of the things that you use yourself and that you share with people, and using like ancient wisdom and modern technology together. Um, and I know that you're an open person and you're learning so much again on that health frontier to help others. And if people are to come to you, they could find out, gosh, if I'm a single parent and I'm exhausted all the time, what do I do? I know that you can help them with that. Is that true?
Yes, of course. Yes, I employ different tools in my toolbox.
Yeah.
Starting with mindset, first of all, which I'm also a certified NLP trainer, so I can rewire your mind, how you think
Mhm.
and how you experience things. I can remove negative emotions and limiting decisions, roadblocks, because everything we do in life, we have a strategy, how we buy things, how we wash dishes, how we love somebody. We always have a strategy how that is accomplished. So through NLP techniques and timeline therapy, I'm able to rewire the mind and get rid of the negative blocks. I can even install an endorphin button, immediate release.
Wow.
And
That's so
then,
cool.
yeah, so this is from that approach. In terms of physical health, practicing wellness things, because when you have those tools, you have your mindset, you have your wellness, you have your health, then suddenly you're not going to be so tired all the time because you have those
Mhm.
practices that you employ. So with a 10x, with a fitness approach, it's actually an approach that focuses on specific muscle groups when you exercise, when you work out. So it's very specific. You only spend 15 minutes twice a week, so 30 minutes total, and you can build stamina, muscles, and strength to be able to live long and feel good. And finally, the other, I call it, I have this amazing company that I've been partnered with that uses stem cell therapy patches that utilize light therapy. And that's been incredible as well. That added to my personal energy levels. And it's going to be a year in August that I've been utilizing this amazing technology. And I am coming with, again, with an open mind. And I believe in the company that they want to bring health to a billion households worldwide. So that's why I very interested in that.
Oh my gosh, you just gave me the chills, that in a good way. I love you, Irina. You have the joy, the energy, the passion. Um, Truly, everyone that's listening to this, check out Irina Shehovsov. Here is her website. There is Life After Divorce. And I love this. Life is not a sprint, but a marathon. There's a rainbow after the rain. Live, dream, and grow. And so many things you've done, but in such a loving way that you're able to share this with other people. And the best way to get a hold of Irina would probably be, let's see, your email or LinkedIn. I know you're on LinkedIn for sure.
Yeah.
And her website, and we'll drop it in the chat as well. She has a link tree here, and that will give you access to many of the things she's doing. And I think, don't you even have a free gift for people if they sign up for something in that link tree?
They can get a morning mindset mini course for free if they sign up, and
Whoa.
I can share with you a link. It's a little mini video course.
Fabulous. Well, what a blessing to get that. Well, definitely. And if someone were to contact you, I guess you might have a little bit of a session with them to see if you guys are a fit together. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Yes, people can book a discovery session and see how I can help them. It's completely free. There is no charge, just to see if I can help you.
Wow. Well, we are so blessed to have you here today on Storyvan TV. And when is your next book possibly coming out? Do you have any time date coming out?
No fixed date, but November timeframe. They're going to be a solo
you have a
book.
mailing list, eh? And if they get on that mailing list, they'd probably get the notification, because you don't want to miss her next book. It'll be another bestseller.
Thank you, Bud.
Yeah. All right. Well, then here we are. We're going to ring off from Storyvan TV today. We thank you so much, Irina, for coming on and sharing with the world some great tips for parenting, and also health tips for staying healthy while you're parenting and living a happy, healthy, wealthy life. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.